Today on Up Front, Wisconsin's pivotal presidential primary now just 2 days away. Is Wisconsin now cruise country? Will the Trump train be derailed? And what could Wisconsin mean for the primary battle between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders? Insight and analysis from Christian Schneider of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel and John Nichols of the Capital Times and The Nation. Plus, Republican National Committee Chair Reince Priebus. Can his party unite? And what was his meeting with Donald Trump all about?
Covering the issues important to Wisconsin. This is Up Front with Mike Goucher.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Up Front. We are now less than 48 hours away from Wisconsin's presidential primary, with the candidates and their surrogates crisscrossing the state one final time, making their closing arguments in a contest that has suddenly become significant. The campaign here has produced some interesting twists and even a little rancor, with the Republican candidates now seeming to back away from their famous pledge to support the eventual GOP nominee. In a CNN town hall last week, Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, and John Kasich either hedged or said outright that they won't adhere to the loyalty pledge. So what does that mean for the GOP? We're talking about the pledge and Wisconsin's primary today with Republican National Committee Chairman, Wisconsin's own Reince Priebus. Chairman Priebus, always good to have you on the program. And let's begin with the loyalty pledge. Based on what the candidates said, is the loyalty pledge a thing of the past? Is it dead?
No, it's not. And in fact, this is no different than what the candidates signed in 2012, again in 2016. What people don't seem to know, and it's okay, we don't talk about it a lot, that the loyalty pledge is actually part of a data exchange agreement that we have at the RNC. So in other words, if you're going to use the data and the information that we've built at the RNC and spent hundreds of millions of dollars on, then in return, part of that, there's a few things that you need to do, exchanging the data, et cetera, and improving and enhancing our data. But another thing you need to agree to is to support the eventual nominee in the party. So, you know, it's pretty normal. I think it's expected. And I think they're all going to be there. And I kind of view this as a little bit of convention potential posturing out there that you're seeing. And we'll see if we end up with an open convention. But I chalk it up as more of that than anything. I
want to talk about the open convention possibility in just a moment. But once again, on this point, have you had conversations with the candidates about what they said on Tuesday night and explain to them very carefully, as you just did, that this is what is at stake if you don't support the nominee?
I think that not necessarily, not really. I mean, I don't want to get into individual conversations that I have. It would be pretty wrong of me to have private talks and then communicate them. As much as I like you, Mike, communicating all of that back on the air wouldn't go well for me in the future. But it would be like running for the Kiwanis Club and getting up and saying, well, I don't like the Kiwanis Club. Well, then, you know, don't run for president of the Kiwanis Club. I mean, so what we're having is a battle for who the nominee of our party is going to be. Our party it exists. These folks are trying out to see who the Republican Party chooses as their nominee. I'm not running to be there to be with them. They're running to join us. And so it only makes sense that if you actually want to join our party, that you would actually be loyal to our party.
You mentioned the word unity a couple of moments ago. There was a meeting between you and Mr. Trump on Thursday. I know you've said that was previously scheduled. But I want to have you address this. He said on Tuesday night that the RNC had treated him unfairly. Have you pushed back on that comment with him? Do you believe at any point the RNC has been unfair to Mr. Trump?
Well, I wouldn't get into what I talked to him about, although what I do want to know, everyone to understand is that I meet with all the candidates all the time in their campaigns, and there's nothing abnormal about a candidate stopping by and saying hello to the party that they're actually going to want to be joining. You know, I let the candidates posture the way they want. It isn't something that I get into specifically because I'm very confident in their positions that they've taken, and I sort of just let some of that stuff go.
Let's talk about the possibility of an open convention. I think you were on this program about 6 weeks ago, and I asked you then, did you think it was likely? And you said, no, you thought it was unlikely. Do you still think it's unlikely that you'll have an open or a contested convention?
You know, I think it's possible that we would have an open or a contested convention, but We got to look and see how the math goes through the next several weeks. Obviously, Wisconsin is going to be a big deal in those calculations. It's still not impossible, no matter what happens in Wisconsin, that we would not have an open convention. It's possible we'd have a nominee with the numbers that they need, either Ted Cruz or Donald Trump. But we just got to wait and see. It's certainly more possible today than it was the last time we spoke.
Just to help our viewers understand that if you did have an open convention, would it matter in terms of how the RNC views this if a particular candidate had many more delegates or many more votes, or if someone had been in the race the entire length of the process? Does that matter in an open or contested convention? Should it matter?
Well, I mean, it might be taken consideration by the delegates on the floor, but I'm certainly not going to do anything to help someone get to 1237. I'm not going to hurt someone or try to prevent someone from getting the delegates, but that's a decision that the delegates on the floor would have to make if you go into an open convention. But there's nothing, I firmly believe that the majority rule is going to stand. And the idea that a plurality should dictate who the nominee is, I just find preposterous. And it's never been done that way. And we've been around for 160 years. And I think that it'll stay that way.
Any chance, every now and then you hear somebody talk about the possibility of a third-party candidacy. Do you think that is something that's just not even really possible?
Yeah, you're referring to a third party in the general? No.
Yeah.
I mean, number one, the window is closing rapidly. There are 44 state loser laws out there right now, which means that if you access the ballot as a Republican or a Democrat, you can't turn around and go as an independent. The convention's in July. I think the window on that's closing, and it's a stupid idea because obviously you're just going to nominate Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders as president once that happens.
The chairman of the RNC, Reince Priebus, the Wisconsin native. It's good to have you back on the program. Thanks very much for your time today.
Thank you.
And coming up next, Ted Cruz appears to be surging in Wisconsin. Is the same true for Bernie Sanders? Our political panel looks at who's got momentum and what the story might be after Tuesday. That's when Up Front continues.
Up Front with Mike Goucher, brought to you by the American Transmission Company and the Wisconsin Corn Growers Association.